Happy Sunday, Tampa Bay. We're with you for another week here on the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show, like we are every Sunday at 10 o'clock here on WFLA News, making sure to give you all the updates you need about real estate right here in the Tampa Bay Metro. And my team, we cover a really broad geographic area. I get this question sometimes because they say, hey, your office is in South Tampa. You know, how often, where do you cover? Well, LPT, the company I joined, is a cloud-based brokerage it is national. So we actually serve nationally, if that makes sense. If it's an area that we don't cover with our agents, then we partner with an LPT agent in that area. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere and you want to make sure to get the right agent, we have the ability to look at the statistics to find you the right agent based on your market and your needs. So again, our team personally covers everything in the Tampa Bay Metro, including Sarasota, Manatee, Polk County, Pinellas County, Hillsborough, Tampa, Pasco County, Hernando County. We cover a really broad geographic area, and even though our office is in South Tampa, our agents live throughout the market. So our team covers a broad geographic area, and then LPT, our brokerage, is able to serve clients anywhere. And so the cool thing is, I get to see the statistics and get to pick an agent for you in a market with my experience to where I can kind of pre-screen and save you some time, energy, and effort. So if you do want a great agent and you're thinking about buying or selling anywhere, you can hit us up at theduncanduo.com or get a free home value estimate at duncanduo.com. So I want to talk next about pricing your home strategically. If you're thinking about selling your home, I need you to listen up. Also, if your home didn't sell or you know someone that's going to be selling your home, listen up because I have some wonderful extra special knowledge for everyone out there thinking about selling or it is going to in the future. First and foremost, a lot of real estate agents make this mistake when pricing real estate. And they price something at $849.9 or $999 or $249.9. And real estate isn't gas, okay? You're not tricking anyone by saying, oh, it's under $250 or under $750. People aren't that dumb. It doesn't help at all. And let me explain why it's a flawed logic and why that doesn't help you as a home seller. The very first and most important reason is that the majority of homes sold today, the very first showing is online. The very first opportunity to sell the home to someone is online. And no different than a traditional retailer, if you walk into a Walmart or a Nordstrom or a Saks, it doesn't matter what it is, the stuff that the retailer wants to push the most or that they want to get the most exposure for, they put it on the end caps. Or they do extra advertising and research to determine where in the store is something going to get the most positive impression. Real estate is the same way. So use my $3 billion in sales history to your advantage here, even if you don't hire my company, which you should, because a lot of agents are out there giving bad advice about pricing right now. So here's what I mean. If you have a home that's worth $800,000 or you're going to market it at $800,000, price it at $800,000. Okay. Don't price it at $799.9. And here's why. Because when someone goes online and searches, no different than the retail analogy I gave you a few minutes ago, which was that, you want stuff in the place where it can be seen the most. When you price it at $799.9 or $699.9 or $499.9, the consumer misses your property a lot of times when they search up to 500. So if they search up to 500, they're going to weed through a whole bunch of other listings at 500 before yours ever shows up. You've basically said, when you price your home at one of those odd, obscure numbers, you've basically said, go ahead and stick my product in the middle of an aisle behind everyone else. Okay. Now, if your product is exceptional and still well priced, will you potentially still sell the property? Of course. However, you may not get as many eyes. You may not give your chance the best shot at a bidding war, and your home may not sell. You price it on whole numbers, and you look at the search history of consumers to determine how to navigate around that appropriately. One example would be, again, if you price it at that 800 number, everybody that's looking up to 800, if you're hiring a good agent that knows how to advertise and market, they're going to the portals, the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, the homes. They're going to the portals, and they're ensuring that their homes get featured so that when that person searches up to 800, that agent, if they're an $800,000 listing, that agent is getting theirs positioned at the top. So the person at $799.9, you miss them when you price it at $799.9, because you may be on the second page, or someone may have to scroll through other properties to get to you. You want to be the best positioned. You want to be on the end cap. You want to be in the featured spot of the retail store for real estate, which is pricing on that whole number. Another really important reason that you price it on the whole number. Let's just say, for example, you've got a $700,000 property. If you price it at $699 and someone's searching up to $700, they wouldn't see you. Okay. Now, on the converse of that, let's say someone goes on and says, hey, I'm looking for something between $700,000 and $1 million, and I want to filter it to show the lowest price first. If you were at $699.9, they'd never see you. They'd never see your property. If you price it on the whole number, you get both sides of the search. You get more exposure. It's kind of like being on the end cap at the very front of a store during holiday season. You're going to get more exposure. So if your agent isn't giving you that advice, you've got the wrong agent, and maybe you need to make a change when your listing expires, or you simply need to hire us and somebody that does give you the appropriate, correct pricing strategy. So again, $25,000 and $50,000 increments up to a certain point, and then $100,000 increments above another point. But the idea is to price on those whole numbers. So don't make the mistake. Don't hire an agent that doesn't understand how to explain that, because if they price it wrong, and then they try and correct it later on, you're absolutely missing traffic. I want to talk about another pricing strategy that I think a lot of home sellers fail to grasp. If you're listening right now, you've probably gone to an auction before. And I've gone to a lot of auctions. I've bought equipment for businesses. I've bought cars, made offers on cars at auctions. I've bought sports memorabilia at auctions. And I've gone to charity auctions and bought trips. And a few years ago, I bought tickets to go see the Grammys. So I've experienced the auction mentality before. And when you go to an auction, quite often you will see someone overpay for an item because they were competing with someone else. So if let's just say you're at Meekum or Barrett Jackson and you're a car person, and you see two guys bidding back and forth for this Camaro or this, historic Corvette or a screen-used movie car. What ends up happening is people's emotions, excitement, and competitive juices take over, and they overpay sometimes because they want to beat the guy across the aisle that they're looking at, that they're going up against. They want to beat that guy. Their competitive juices flow because other people want the product, and oftentimes they overpay, regret later on. Well, as a home seller, I don't care if they have regrets later on. My goal is to best represent you. So if you can think from a standpoint of if your home is in a very competitive market or a not competitive market for homes in your neighborhood and price range, the idea is to create a competitive market for your specific home, okay? To create a market for your home. So an example, just this past week, we had a property in Clearwater. The client came to us and said, hey, I want to sell it really fast, but I've looked at getting cash offers, and they're coming in, 20, 30, 40% off of what I think the retail number is. And I don't want to take that big of a haircut. And look, let's face it, I buy homes too, okay? I go out and make cash offers all day long. And I'm making them from a standpoint of investment where I can buy the property, renovate it, and resell it and make it a reasonable, I wouldn't say substantial, sometimes it's substantial, but a reasonable profit compared to what my money would make parked in something guaranteed safe. So the consumer, this particular client said, I don't want to do it a cash offer, but I do want to move the home quick. We ran through the numbers. We showed them the prices and showed them the comps and said, hey, looking at all these comparables, what do you think the home was worth? And they thought $450, which is relatively comparable to what we believed as well to be the market value. And so when you look at the three different strategies to price a home, you can price it at that retail number. You can price it above retail where you chase the market down and eventually potentially maybe not even sell because prices compress and you're just kind of behind it the whole time. Or you price the home aggressively, slightly below market, with the intention of forcing the activity to hopefully create a bidding war and maximize your position and sell the home quickly. In this particular instance, the client said, well, if we're worth $450, the absolute lowest I would take would be $425. But I don't really want to take that. But if that's all I got, or if I got like a really good offer, cash situation, then it could make sense. So we put the property on the market for $425, roughly 5% below market. We got a litany of offers, dozens and dozens of offers on this property, dozens and dozens with escalation clauses and people that saw it as a value. And what ended up happening is these people started competing for the house because they wanted to beat the other guy. And when you have a property where you create a market like that, you've got people coming and going. Somebody going into the house and somebody else watching that person go into the house because it's got that much demand because it's such a good deal. What ends up happening is that auction mentality kicks in and we sold the property for $460,000. Okay. 10 grand above market, 35 grand above asking price. And it was great terms for the client. The client got everything they wanted. It was incredible. They were so happy they were able to move back to Illinois. And a lot of real estate agents would have made the mistake and priced it, or not given them that option and priced it at $450. It probably still would have sold. Maybe it wouldn't have sold for asking. Maybe it would have sold slightly lower. Maybe it would have taken a few months to sell, which is probably the norm in our market. But in this instance, we forced the activity. We put a great marketing plan in place. We were patient with the offers. And that's the kind of strategy that you need to win in today's market. If you're not getting that strategy, maybe you have the wrong agent. Maybe your house is just sitting. Maybe you're not creating demand. Maybe you don't have people looking at it. And a lot of the time it can be drilled back to the price. However, the right price doesn't matter if the property's been on the market too long and it's stale. Consumers want it to be attractive. The right price, as well as being new on the market, is the potent combo. Cutting your price to the right price after the fact, unfortunately, you've lost the oomph of all the people and the energy and the excitement early on in the listing. And sure, can the property still sell? And can a bidding war happen at some point? Down the line, if you lower the price to an aggressive number after it's been out there for a while, of course it can work. But your best advantage as a home seller, no matter the market, is to aggressively price it with an agent that aggressively markets it, that's patient in the negotiation, and then pits buyers against each other. Again, why do you think people put a car up at Barrett-Jackson instead of just putting it online? Why do you think people put a car up at Meekum instead of just throwing an ad online? It's that strategy. And we are experts at that. We've done that for countless clients. So if you want an aggressive strategy to get your home moved, but you don't want to take the low ball cash offer, please reach out to us. Hit us up at duncanduo.com. Tell the agent or myself when we reach out that you want the aggressive strategy that I talked about on the radio and that you want to price it to move it, not just to have it sit on the market like a lot of sales are happening right now. So hopefully that helps you understand the strategy that we're using to win in today's market and drive price up for our clients and still win for them, even though the market isn't as good as it was a few years ago. Speaking of the market not being as good a few years ago, when I come back, I'm going to talk about the Tampa real estate statistics. I want to let you know what we're seeing on the stats, what we predict is coming for our market, and so much more after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show. I teased it before the break. We're going to talk about the Tampa real estate stats. And so the stats that I want to talk about come out every month. And I do talk about them because I think it's important for you to understand where our market is and what we're seeing in the marketplace. However, what I want you to understand is that when I do talk about these statistics, they don't apply to every property in every segment. Condos are drastically different than single-family home right now because of the milestone survey inspections that need to be done by communities, insurance obstacles, HOA fees going up. The condo market is not nearly as healthy as the single-family market. And then certain parts of town aren't as healthy as others. So you can't necessarily apply something I say generally about real estate in Tampa Bay to every specific product niche. So when you hear me talk about this, I'm talking about the market overall. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm talking about your property. If you want to know what's exactly going on with your property, duncanduo.com. Hit us up for a value estimate. Just, again, jump onto the website at duncanduo.com. We'll get you a free value estimate. You'll get to see the data, what you're competing with, month supply inventory, how long are homes taking to sell, what do they sell it at of the asking price. So when I looked at the statistics, one thing that was really surprising to me and these stats are through July, was how many homes above $1 million we've sold in our market. And I don't mean me, like we've sold a bunch, but I'm talking about the market overall. 925 sales above $1 million. To put that into perspective, I remember years way back in the day, in my real estate career where that number was in single digits on a monthly basis. Like, we were not selling hundreds of homes above $1 million each month. So the market is definitely healthy from that standpoint. 4% of our homes sold this year in the marketplace are above $1 million. And luxury listings used to be things that would sit on the market forever. The average days on market for a home above $1 million, because the amount of demand, because the number of millionaires that are moving here, people moving from other parts of the country and they don't want to pay state income tax, or they like our politics, or they like our climate, or either our weather climate or our business climate. 59 days on market. It's about the same as everything else. They're not sitting on the market for years at a time like they used to. 59 days on market for homes above $1 million compared to 51, 46, 50, 51, 52 days on market, everything in like the 200 to 400 range is in that number of days on market. So luxury market, very healthy. Love to help you. Still, the right pricing strategy and the right marketing matter. 96% list to sell price ratio above $1 million. Also, something that, we just did not used to see. And that is a little bit lower than the norm in the market, which is 98%. So luxury properties above $1 million do sell for a little bit lower list to sell price ratio than their counterparts. So luxury market doing very healthy. So overall statistics, the average sale price in Tampa Bay, $462,211. Compare that to a year ago, we were $461,702. So as I predicted many times on the show, we were not going to see massive depreciation. We were really going to see stabilization, which is what we've seen. Our average sale price has bumped around in the mid to high 400s for a few years now, a couple of years. Since going back to July of 2022, the average sale price was $474, then $446, $447. It's been in that $450 to $475 range for a couple of years. Average days on market, 55. Like I mentioned, that's the average. It's only 59 for luxury homes above $1 million. So it's not that much different. Luxury homes above $1 million now are not some sort of anomaly like they used to be, where they'd take forever to sell and sell way below asking and have all these price drops. Luxury homes today are selling at above $1 million, are selling at a comparable pace to the average priced homes. 3.39 months supply of inventory. One other thing on the luxury space that I think is important as it relates to the rest of the market is that we just have a higher saturation of people that want that inventory. The downside to that, builders see that, and then builders go and attack that product, and we still have an obstacle with affordable housing, homes in that mid-level price range. So we're actually going to have a builder on in a few weeks to talk about this and kind of things that they're doing to combat it, bring more affordable single-family homes to Tampa Bay. But right now, the builders see, the margins on $1 million plus homes and how they're selling and how they're moving, and that's what they're attacking. A couple other things with the stats: 3,349 homes sold in July, about the same number that was sold in June. May of this year, we had a record month, 4,000. That was the first 4,000 month in 3 years. But most of the year we've been in that 3,000 to 3,300 range for number of home sales, which is a stabilized market, healthy, but stabilized. And we're seeing more home sales than we did last year. Last year at this time, we saw 3,184 in July. In July of 2022, we saw 3,062. So again, the last couple of years, we are starting to turn the corner and see some positive progression with both home sales, price, inventory, and the best is yet to come as far as I'm concerned. After the presidential election, I expect a real estate bump, simply because people are sitting on the fence, waiting, concerned. And then, of course, we're going to see Fed rate cuts. That's already kind of out there. It looks like they start in September and they continue through next year. So if you wait as a consumer to sell or buy because you're waiting on interest rates to drop, I promise you're going to miss the mark. Do it now, refi later. We know rates are coming down. In lieu of some massive change in the economy or the world situation, rates are headed in a downward trend, which means you want to buy before they trough. When they trough, prices skyrocket. So you can gain equity now, buying now, and then refinancing later. So hopefully that makes sense. We'll be back. We're going to continue this conversation after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. And I want to talk next. Before I get into that, make sure you follow us on social at the Duncan Duo, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and DuncanDuo.com for your free home value estimate. Again, that's DuncanDuo.com if you want our aggressive marketing strategy to get your home in a bidding war. Please go to DuncanDuo.com, and when we reach out, tell our agent that you want the aggressive marketing strategy, which will get your home sold in a bidding war. A lot of our clients are opting for it right now. It is the way to go for somebody that doesn't want to sit on their house and wants to move it. There are way too many people out there right now that want to list their house that don't want to sell it. If you want to sell it, you need the right strategy. That's where that comes in. So again, DuncanDuo.com. We'd love to share that with you. So, and I talked in the break about, or I talked before the break about real estate stats in Tampa, what we're seeing in the luxury market, what we're seeing from average sale prices, number of homes sold. And I spent the first segment of my show focused on strategy. So again, if you missed it, go back and listen to it or call our team, and we would love the opportunity to tell you about that aggressive strategy. So I want to talk next to people that look at real estate online and inquire about homes. So this is my 20th year in real estate. I have seen the rise and fall of many online real estate websites, many real estate brokerages that are going to come in and change and offer a discount plan. I've also seen tech companies fold, not make it, sell out to other companies, downsize. So through these evolutions, there have been things that the consumer didn't quite get filled in on. So this is one of those moments where I kind of want to fill you in on an industry secret. So listen up. If you want real estate insider secrets about buying real estate, I got the right path for you. When you go online to any of the major real estate portals, okay, and look, it's not hard to figure out what they are. They're the ones everyone goes to and searches for real estate, okay? So any of the online portals that you go to, the consumer for decades, okay, believed that if they inquired about a property on one of those portals, they were getting to the listing agent. The listing agent or the listing company, whether it's the brokerage or the team, historically has the most amount of information about that property. They're going to know, they're just going to know more about it. They're going to have information. They're going to have a connection to the seller. The listing agent is who a lot of people want to speak to. And this new lawsuit that was recently settled kind of promotes that same thing where, you know, if you're going to meet with an agent and look at homes, you've got to sign an agreement, have a representation. A lot of customers are going to skip that. They're going to say, I don't want to talk to a buyer agent. I just want to go to the listing agent. Because over the years, what's ended up happening is all those companies, when you would inquire on any of those websites, you used to get the listing company. You would get the listing agent. You would send in an inquiry and say, hey, what's going on with this house? Or I'd like to see it. Now that's not the case. So if you're a consumer and you think that you only want to deal with the listing agent and you go to an online portal or use one of the apps and you message about the house, your inquiry is being sold to the highest bidder. You're not getting the listing agent in most instances. You're getting somebody else. You're getting somebody that paid hundreds of dollars to have an opportunity to have a conversation with you to try and sell you that house or something else. So consumers often get frustrated. They'll send an inquiry and then we'll call and we'll say, hey, when do you, or not us, or because we do it too. We advertise with some of these portals. So we sometimes get leads off of other agents' listings. So what ends up happening is the consumer gets frustrated because they just want to set an appointment. When's it available? You're the listing agent. And they find out that we're not, because the portals sell that lead to the highest paying bidder. They don't give it back to the listing agent who has the most information about the house, who can really answer your questions the best. They sell it to the highest bidder. So then now you've got an extra barrier between you and figuring out what's going on with the house, and you get frustrated because you assume that you're getting the listing agent. The only true real way to get the listing agent is off of the listing agent's website or calling the listing agent directly. Most of the online traffic and search now that you see when you click around and see a property and you inquire about it, most of the time, 90+% of the time, that inquiry is not making its way to listing agent. It's making it to a person that paid for that lead that wants to try and sell you not just that property, but any property. So the only foolproof way to get the listing agent is kind of skip out on that process, not inquire through that online portal. Figure out, in the details, in the fine print down at the bottom, it tells you who the listing agent is or who the listing brokerage is, and then reach out to them directly. That's the only foolproof way. So consumers, when you get frustrated, understand that all of the online portals did this. This is not something we created. It's not something the real estate agents, now again, did boards and MLSs and all that stuff allow it to happen, of course. But we'll get these situations where the customer's frustrated because they have this assumption. Well, I went online and I filled out an inquiry and I think the listing agent should call me. I want to know what the property is and what the disclosures are and this, that, and the other. You're not getting the listing agent. You're getting the highest paid bidder. You're getting somebody that doesn't necessarily know all the specifics about that house. Then they have to go reach out to the listing agent, try and find those questions. Now, again, I'm a firm believer in buyer agency. I'm a firm believer that a lot of homeowners should have a buyer agent. And the online portals have kind of set it up to where you're going to get a buyer agent. You're not going to get the listing agent. Consumers, though, don't know. There was never some major announcement on Wall Street or NASDAQ. Zillow didn't go out there and say, hey, everybody, guess what? We're no longer sending you to the listing agent. We're now sending you to somebody else that's paying us a referral, paying for that lead. Okay? They never announced it. So the consumers that have continued searching on those portals for years are misunderstood because they think they're getting the listing agent. And you're not. You're not getting the listing agent. And whether or not that's right or not isn't up to me. We certainly do our best to, position our business to capitalize on how those companies have decided to handle the inquiries on listings. But the consumer doesn't know. The consumer makes an assumption because that's the way it happened for years on those portals. But then it changed. And the only people they really announced it to were the real estate industry because they said, hey, guess what, real estate agents, we're not going to make you pay more. Or we're going to not give you the leads off of your own listings. So real estate agents knew about it because we didn't like it, especially ones that did a lot of listings. Of course, agents that didn't have listings and represented buyers loved the idea because it's a chance for them to get business. But a lot of heavy listing agents didn't love the idea that now their leads on their listings that they worked hard to get, that they advertise, are being sold to the highest bidder, some other company. But we've had to pivot. Had to pivot and work around it. But if you are a buyer and you're inquiring about a property, most of the time, unless you pay extra money with those portals, and let's face it, a very small percentage of real estate agents do that, your inquiry is not making it to the listing agent. And again, consumers don't understand this. We deal with it all the time. And the portals when the portals changed it, they really made some major announcement. It's buried in some fine print somewhere at the bottom of a website that nobody reads in the terms and conditions. You're clicking through and authorizing and asking for information, and it's making it clear to you. You're probably just not reading it. It's buried in some fine print. So the moral of the story is that the real estate industry has changed dramatically. Tech has kind of come in and changed a lot of it, but there's still this consumer lack of awareness about that specific thing. So if you inquire on one of those apps or one of those websites, you're not likely getting the listing agent. You want to get the listing agent, you're pretty much going to have to go direct to the source. Call or text them, find their information, Google them, find it in the fine print of the listing because it's there. They've got to disclose it. But of course, they disclose it like grayed out text that you can barely find. You can find it. So you got to search for it. And then that's how you can get directly to the listing agent. So again, you're listening to the Duncan Duo Real Estate Show here on WFLA News. When we aren't on air, make sure you're following us on all of our socials at The Duncan Duo. Again, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. All of the social channels, we are there. I want to talk next about our featured property this week, okay? And it's interesting because, we don't feature every one of our listings on the show, okay? We have a lot of clients that will say, hey, talk about my property. And, of course, some that we do. It is an extra thing that we offer to our clients to get them exposure for their home. And so 6705 North Orleans Avenue, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2364 square feet, new construction, really cool part of town. This is a part of town that's really growing. It's a brand new construction house, nice new flooring, solid countertops, incredible lighting in the kitchen, like a nice bright white kitchen. And again, new construction. So it's going to be cheaper on, utilities and insurance. And it's on a Again, 2,364 square feet, been on the market just a few days, priced at $589,000. Again, incredible property. And the thing that I love most about this property, she's got such cool curb appeal. It feels very Key West. And so again, 6705 North Orleans Avenue. And you're wondering right now, well, how do I get information on that property? Well, it is our listing, so you can Google it. And then, like I mentioned, you Google it, and you're going to get sent off to the highest bidder. Your information is going to be sold to someone else. The best way to get information is go to our website at theduncanduo.com, and that is the best way for you to get information on any of our featured properties. So again, you can do that at theduncanduo.com. You can also, again, Google, in which case, like I mentioned, your property will be sold, or you're not your property, your lead will be sold to the highest bidder. So the reason I love this property, it's not far from the riverfront. It's in a neighborhood called River Bend. There's just so much development and cool stuff happening along the river. So many new restaurants. This is just, like I said, I love the location of this. There's so much upside with what's happening in River Bend and anything close to the river. Again, 6705 North Orleans Avenue. Hit us up at theduncanduo.com. Check out our featured listings, and you'll find the property there on our website. So, one of the things I'm going to talk about in the last break, or the last segment of the show, I talked about luxury real estate. I also want to talk about some tips that I can give to first-time home buyers, because we know that it's challenging out there for first-time home buyers to get their offers accepted. We know that a lot of sellers don't want to take offers from first-time home buyers. They don't want to take low down payment. That's risk to them, or extra hoops to jump through on inspection. So first-time home buyers, you've got your work cut out for you in this market. But if you stay with me on the other side, I'm going to give you some intel to help you win, even in a super competitive market in the average price ranges of Tampa. So again, be back after a quick break here on the Duncan Duo Show. So we're back here on the Duncan Duo Show talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market. I'm Andrew Duncan with the Duncan Duo at LPT Realty. First-time home buyers, I got you. Okay, if you are a first-time home buyer, please listen up. If you're thinking of someone you know that's a first-time home buyer, make sure to send them to us. Tell them to listen to this segment, because I'm going to give you some intel on how to win even in a challenging market for first-time home buyers. Let's face it, first-time home buyers, let's think about the pros and the cons. Unless you've waited in life to buy a house and put away a lot of money, it's likely you're getting a loan. And you are competing with the largest home buyers in the country that have cash, enormous hedge funds that frankly want to beat you, and they don't want you to win. They want to buy the home and they want you to rent it from them. They don't want you to own. It's why there's so many hedge funds in our marketplace. So how do you beat that as a first-time home buyer? You can't come in and say, hey, I got cash, because you don't. But what you can do is appeal to the home seller's emotional side and prepare yourself the best you possibly can be for your offer. First and foremost, talk to a lender before you ever look at a house. Get pre-approved. Do your financial stuff, okay? Reason being is when the right property hits the market and there's a lot of competition, you may not have a day or two to wait on getting a pre-qual or sending your income statements or having your credit pulled, and then you miss the house. Okay? Don't put the cart before the horse. Go get qualified, even if you think your credit's amazing and your income's amazing and you know it's going to be a slam dunk easy qualify. There's stuff that's in your credit report you find out that you didn't know about, or you find out that you write off so much on your taxes and you're self-employed. Or you find out that your credit score is not where you thought it was. Talk to a lender first before you ever look at a house. Have that all lined up. If you do it backwards, it's going to cost you. The second thing that you want to do, again, make sure you have your down payment prepared and saved. Recently had a scenario where a client said, oh yeah, my parents are going to give me the money. And the parents said, of course we'll give you a down payment. Well, of course we'll help you. What the son didn't know was that the parents were in financial trouble. Parents don't often say to their kids, hey, guess what? I'm having financial problems. I'm about to file bankruptcy. I ain't got no money left. Okay. They don't want to disappoint you. Sometimes maybe they don't think you're really going to buy a house and you might get lip service. Have parents told their kids are going to give them money and then not have it? Yes. Make sure that you have that documented. Have your lender speak to them. Get the proper documentation. Again, it happens. We've had people say, oh, my parents are giving me the 20%. Lender doesn't verify it. We get to the end. Parents don't have the 20%. Parents are in debt. Parents are in foreclosure. Parents are filing bankruptcy. Get your down payment, have it ready to go, locked into an account. Make sure you know that whoever's giving it to you, if you don't have it, has it available and you have proof of that. Obviously, polishing the credit, which I mentioned about. Here's another thing that you want to make sure and do as a first-time home buyer. Having not been experienced in the real estate space, you need a trusted advisor. You need a great real estate agent. You need somebody with experience. It's part of the reason why you work with an agent is because they can help you avoid pitfalls. They've done a lot of transactions. They've represented a lot of people. This isn't the time to use your uncle's brother's cousin's friend who just got their license, okay? It's going to cost you money or it's going to cost you the ability to buy a home altogether. Make sure you're working with a professional and a pro that sits down, goes over the buying process with you. You hire them exclusively, and they have the ability to go out and navigate, help you save money, and help you find the right house. You want to make sure and register the commute during rush hour. You might think, oh, Google says it's 9 minutes from my office, Saturday morning at noon. And that 9 minutes turns into 99 minutes come Monday morning. Drive the property on a rush hour timeline. Make sure that you're okay with the commute. Last but not least, when you're a first-time home buyer, you need an agent that's aggressive. You need an agent that can help you avoid mistakes, that has a lot of experience, a team with a lot of experience like ours. Again, it's not the time for amateur hour. You go amateur hour, it's going to cost you. You're either not going to buy or it's going to cost you money. Second thing, last but not least, you can't win with cash. You're going to have a hard time beating cash. So what you have to do is try and appeal to the emotional side of the home seller. Now, is that going to work in every instance? No, it's not. Okay. You might have to fire the gun a few times. How can you appeal to the emotional side of the seller? You can flatter them. Big bank that's throwing a cash offer their way isn't going to do it. You can flatter the home. You can find common ground. You can let them know what the home means to you and your family. You can let them know like all of these things. You can do a letter. You can do a video. There's certainly things you have to steer clear of when you do those things because there's protected classes and certainly, not advocating that you cause any problems there. But you can appeal to the emotional side of the home seller by letting them know what that home's going to mean to you. A big bank, a hedge fund isn't going to do that. So again, a great agent is going to accentuate that. It's going to make that home seller that's looking at that offer understand that this isn't just some big fund out of Wall Street that they're selling their home to, but someone else that can positively contribute to the neighborhood. Someone's not going to be renting the property out. Someone that wants to occupy it as their home. And that person can provide some emotional context with why that home is the one that they want. So hopefully those tips are helpful. Again, if you know a first-time home buyer, send them our way at theduncanduo.com, but make sure to share this with them. This will be up on our YouTube channel as well as the iHeartRadio podcast. You can go and listen to all the segments there. And we'll be back next week. Always dropping knowledge about the Tampa Bay real estate market. See you next Sunday and have an awesome rest of your weekend, Tampa Bay.